team, one guy is hanging onto the ball and refusing to pass it down the line, which in rugby means that you get smashed and you don't play to your strengths, and that's been the problem.
And Boris Johnson, as you know, is a keen fan of rugby. How has he allowed that tactic, or why has he allowed that tactic to continue, Guito?
It's a shame, isn't it? But he has been over-reliant on Dom Cummings, perhaps because of the Brexit thing. He just wanted to get it over the line. And maybe two things have happened, I think, Nick. One is Brexit is nearly there. It's going to happen now. It's only weeks away. Two, Joe Biden has been elected in the States and reminded us that Trump is not the new normal, but an aberration of sound, responsible, decent political discourse. And maybe Boris was reminded that that kind of thing is what gets you respect long term, not the kind of confrontational, aggressive, in-your-face nastiness that the vote you guys have presided over.
Your piece in the Daily Telegraph today tells a story that is as endearing as it is enlightening of your time with the mayor. Would you? This is the one about the meeting with Michael Bloomberg.
Michael Bloomberg. It was my very first day working for Boris, and it was breakfast not only with my new boss Boris, but Michael Bloomberg happened to be on a visit, the mayor of New York at the time, with one aide of his, four of us in the room. Bloomberg just oozed kind of competence and authority and all that, and presented Boris with a beautiful apple from Tiffany to symbolise the big apple. Boris just looked around the office, found an old T-shirt with the London Underground on it, and handed it over to him. So the contrast could not have been more stark. But when it came to charisma, when it came to vision and passion and all the rest of it, Michael Bloomberg looked a bit of a goldfish compared to Boris.
Can Boris recapture that elan, Guito?
I think he can. If you just looked at even at the pictures of him the other day talking to Joe Biden, you could see that sort of passion for the job that he has. You could see him reminded that, politics is a big game and it's important. It really matters to people's lives. He has a sense of destiny. He just needs to rediscover, which happened at City Hall. We lost 4 people in the first 4 months, and when the last one left, it was all seen as carnage from the outside, but that was the moment things started going right because Boris took charge himself.
Politically, how shall we remember Mr. Cummings?
As an aberration, a disruptor, a catalyst, a man who came in, made us leave the European Union, trashed the joints, hung around for a year, insulting elder statesmen, sacking the crack troops, the spans of the party, breaking the rules. That press conference, not only the substance of it, but how ridiculously patronising. The idea that he thinks that we thought that he needed to drive however many miles it was to test his eyesight, and there wasn't a problem with that. It's time to respect the British people and the British electorate again. Even the Tory party deserves respect, and he hasn't shown it to any.
Lastly, phone rings later today or over the weekend, and it's the boss, it's Boris, asking you, Guito, to go see him. What would you say?
Well, I'm not expecting that, but who knows?
Well, all right, Guito, thank you. Guito Harry, good piece today in the Daily Telegraph. Mr. Harry was Communications Director to Boris Johnson during his time as Mayor and as a Senior Advisor at Hawthorne, political editor of GQ magazine. It is our job to make this, of course, relevant to you if you're not within the Westminster Circle. But let's get one other
one inundated with complaints from members of the public who have said, we're following the rules, we're required to make sacrifices, and you've given a free pass to this man in Downing Street with coronavirus symptoms to drive 270 miles from his home up to County Durham, and then he goes on a drive, supposedly to test his eyesight, which just happened to be his wife's birthday as they went to a beauty spot. It was a big blow for Boris Johnson then, because people were thinking, well, why do we trust you? We will follow the rules, but you're not requiring your team to do it. And I really think Boris Johnson's going to be better off without him, and it's a chance for him to reset his government and be more consensual. Whether he can do it or not is a big question.
A word or two in your column next week, I imagine, Kevin, perhaps. On this.
Yeah. There'll be champagne corks popping in Downing Street, looks considerable.
Probably in Durham as well.
Yeah, everywhere.
Champagne flowing from Downing Street to Durham. Kevin, thank you. Always good speaking with you, sport. Kevin Maguire, broadcaster, columnist for the Daily Mirror, indeed associate editor of the Daily Mirror as well, I should say. As well, Kevin, thank you. 14 after 7. Now to your reactions. Alex in Watford. So it's farewell, Don. How do you react to the news? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Best news I've had all year.
Why?
Wait all year for a bus to turn up at once. Boris, you might restore some of my confidence. They'll get some talent in the cabinet.
What was it, unless you tell me that you know the man or you work with him journalistically or whatever, what is it you didn't particularly like about Mr. Cummings or indeed Mr. Kane?
Divisive.
Right.
And not two men I respect. I respect you as a broadcaster.
Right.
I respect you as a presenter, but I don't respect Boris. Get some talent in that cabinet office.
Right.
Act like Thatcher did, the man of the time of need.
Well, certainly those of us who remember it might take from some lessons from that. Alex, have yourself a good weekend as you celebrate. Thank you. Coming up after the news, we go to one of the most historic sites in the whole of the country.
Plans to dig a 2-mile-long tunnel for an A road right by Stonehenge, a dividing opinion. I'm LBC's Adam Hurd in the West Country.
And grim news yet again in London.
Another teenager killed in London as a young man is stabbed in Harrow. I'm LBC's Matthew Thompson, live at the scene.
All those stories and more besides after the 7:15 LBC News headlines with Simon Conway.
Dominic Cummings, Boris Johnson's controversial senior advisor, is expected to leave Downing Street by Christmas. NHS bosses are warning people in England not to expect life to return to normal when the national lockdown ends in December. A group of federal and state officials
until 2028.
Thanks for that. Adam Hurd reporting. Back to your views of farewell Dominic Cummings. Julia in Herne Hill. Julia, your reaction to the news. Good morning.
Oh, hello, Nick. I haven't spoken to you for ages. It's nice to meet you again.
Good to hear from you. Yeah.
The previous gentleman, I think, was spot on. Cummings was a man for his time. We needed a bruiser while the Brexit negotiations were going on, and this is why he's so hated by the media and all the lobbyies and the Remainers. I mean, they absolutely can't stand him. We'd all like to have a cuddly Boris while Brexit is going on, but using the EU with a soft touch won't work.
So if Boris Johnson is to reset himself, his government, what Boris do you want to see in 2021?
Well, I'd like him to be sensible and go by his own mind. And I think he was very good as Mayor of London, but and obviously he's got the,
What did he
I
achieve?
say, the common touch with people.
Julia,
But the
what
thing
did
is,
he...
he needed Dominic Cummings while he did Brexit.
Julia, what did he achieve as Mayor of London?
Sorry?
What did he achieve? You say he was very good Mayor. Just remind me of the good things he did.
Well, I think he introduced the Morris bikes and he used to cycle around and he was very active with everybody. He
Yes.
have a better relation with the transport for London.
Right. Okay. So it was a closer way that was run. Julia, you're looking forward to a new look, Boris. New year, new look for Boris Johnson. Thank you for your input. Have yourself a good weekend. Our conversation will continue. Coming up after the news, we will play you the new John Lewis advert. But in a recent survey, which one do you suppose was the second most popular?
You can't give me the dreams that I'm mine anymore. You'll have to walk away.
We go back to 2015 with Man on the Moon. So in that recent survey, which was the most remembered? Yes, that boxer jumping up and down on a trampoline from 2016. What does 2020 hold? You'll find out after this. And also coming up after the news, £175 million for more COVID road restrictions. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps will be joining me. Oh, and what of that promise? No more smart motorways, Transport Secretary. You presumably have just signed off on 138 miles of them. How did that happen? Stay tuned. 7:30, you'll listen to Breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari, here on LBC. Let's get the news. Simon Conway.
Boris Johnson's controversial chief advisor, Dominic Cummings, is set to leave his Downing Street position by the end of the year. It's thought his departure will allow the Prime Minister to try to soften the government's image and rebuild relations with Tory MPs. England's former chief medical officer claims the country was ill-prepared for the coronavirus pandemic. Dame Sally Davis, who left the role last year, says public health officials believed a virus of this type would never travel this far. Sadiq Khan has told the Met Police to carry out a review of its road traffic stops to try to address concerns over tactics affecting black Londoners. The mayor has published figures which show black people in the capital are 6 times more likely to be stopped in their vehicles than white people. And the weather, rain over central areas will move east, then some sunny spells and scattered showers, which will be mainly in the north and west, a high of 14 degrees.
The fight against coronavirus. This or any other vaccine is approved. We will be ready to begin a large-scale vaccination program. For the very latest, stay with LBC.
2020 has been a year that's left many people wondering whether to go ahead with plans or to pause them, especially when it comes to moving home. At the Halifax, when our customers couldn't come to us, we came to them, and we still are. Every week, we're doing over 2,500 mortgage interviews by phone and video call, from our home to yours. Because the last thing we want you to do is have to cancel something else. Halifax, it's a people thing.
At Lidl, we're big on keeping you and our colleagues safe. We've installed protective screens, safety messages, and sanitizing stations in all of our stores. We're working tirelessly to fully stock our shelves with everything you need, and we're committed to keeping you safe while offering high-quality products at low prices. Now that's big on quality and always little on price.
Global Player is the official LBC app. Download it from your app store now for free or go to globalplayer.com.
To help clean up London's air, the ultra-low emission zone is expanding from central London up to the North Circular and down to the South Circular roads in October 2021.
Londoners are already doing their bit, with 4 in 5 cars already
already meeting the standards. But if you drive an older polluting car, light van or motorcycle, then you may be affected.
So, the best way to know if you meet the standards is to check your vehicle. Search ULEZ 2021. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
I'd been in the home all day. I'd been working from home and had to pop out to go and collect the children from school. And during that time, we'd been burgled, so in broad daylight. I think it really hits home when you come into your children's bedrooms and you see the children's bedrooms have been turned upside down. So the break-in was a real wake-up call in terms of having to do something about the security of the house. So we did a complete review. The first product I bought was the Ring floodlight cam, and that was purely because I had an existing floodlight on the front of the house. Because the Ring floodlight cam was at one side of the house, the Ring doorbell is at the other, it gives us that total coverage across the front of the property. With the Ring system, I get notification if someone is on the property. So as long as my phone stays quiet, I know there's no one on the property. And having that level of reassurance all the time is worth its weight in gold.
Join Matt and the millions of people protecting their homes with Ring. Learn more at ring.com.
Have a painting party, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Turns out, Prosecco and paintbrushes don't mix, and you can't always trust your friends to decorate your house. Thankfully, at trustatrader.com, you can find plenty of vetted, reviewed, reliable professionals in an abundance of trades. Like a painting pro, minus the Secco. After all, friends are for painting the town, not the walls. As we all adjust to the latest government guidance, at Tesco we wanted to reassure you that we're doing everything we can to help you shop safely. We're installing a simple traffic light system at the entrance to our larger stores to help manage the flow of customers. Once inside, please stay within the 2-metre markers and make use of the hand sanitizer and cleaning stations. All our colleagues are provided with face coverings to protect themselves and you. We ask that you wear yours as well. Tesco.